Like they're fine, they're exciting. It's like candy, right? Ideas are fun. That's why when you have people like, I'm an idea guy, it's like, okay, well, I like candy too, right? Who wouldn't want to be? But that doesn't mean. I think one thing that I would probably avoid doing is like, okay, I'm gonna go read through like the top 100 one shots that are available in like the DM's Guild. Like that's what I'm gonna do as research. That would be a terrible thing for me to do. Terrible thing for me to do. Uh, because what that's gonna put in my head is a bunch of bad things. It's gonna put in my head to compare myself to the other people. It's gonna put in my head like, ooh, do I need to do more like that because that seems to be popular? Uh, I just need to do the version of all the stuff that I believe in based on my experience, what I've had luck with, and what I think is funny or challenging or whatever, and trust that there's enough room out there to, you know, build it out that way. Because I think that validation, for me and how my mind works, validation and the reward that comes with that can be like self defeating, where I go like, oh, that felt good, and then it's like, wait, oh no, and now I feel like I know enough about myself to go like, oh, that's bad that I felt good now for the thing that I did. Yeah, I think clocks, that comes from Blades in the Dark, right? I think probably other systems use it too. I mean, all of these things, like it's all shared every which way. It's not shared, but like people. When I made a video about different ways to creatively use I know a guy, the number one favorite thing for a lot of longtime D&D players to talk about was how, oh, I know a guy that's just originally from the, you know, such and such game from the 80s. Oh no, it was published in a magazine back in 74. No, I used it in a home game before they even invented war games back in the 60s. Like it's like trying to figure out who came up with the idea to put all of the monopoly money that you pay out onto free parking. Like somewhere there was a house that did that the first time. But also, whatever. It stinks when people use that as a cudgel, but like for the most part, yeah, nothing is new under the sun. Now, ideas are ideas are meaningless. Execution is everything, right? Like I don't think that I have any like I'm making these six monsters for a silly one shot about fighting with commoners. I don't think that I am probably writing very much in these things that is like, you know, an idea I've never heard of before, right? Like it's some weird juxtaposition. But in the context of this story, with creatures that are sort of like the responsibility of this sort of like crappy wizard, and as antagonist to this like small town without heroes, like the whole thing put together becomes an execution which should be pretty um pretty unique. But the individual ideas, it's like, yeah, those come from everywhere. But once you sort of bake the whole cake, so to speak, it becomes a different thing. It's both sobering and freeing to realize that ideas are um sort of without much value. Like they're fine, they're exciting. It's like candy, right? Ideas are fun. That's why when you have people like, I'm an idea guy, it's like, okay, well, I like candy too, right? Who wouldn't want to be? But that doesn't mean that you're actually like cooking anything. That doesn't mean that you're making anything. The execution is everything. And so, unless you're in the middle of like the .com boom, which I'm not sure we'll ever see another one of those exactly, like, sure, I suppose there was a point in time where like buying up a domain name or being the first one to, you know, sell dog food over the internet, like that probably was going to be a really big deal. So maybe the ideas did matter. But for the most part, as much as it is kind of sobering to be like, oh, these ideas that I feel like are really, well, they don't mean anything yet. I mean, they're neat, but it's not substantial. At the same time, it's like, oh, I can talk about ideas, right? I mean, I think with with you, you've seen me construct on stream and chats with you. I'll throw out most of the ideas that I would like to pursue that might take me the next 5-10 years to pursue. I'll talk about them pretty openly. Um, because at the end of the day, if I can't execute on it better than other people, then the ideas, all that's going to do is give me a little attention as I get out the door with an idea, and then I'll be overtaken by people with better executions anyway. So, and ultimately, so many stories are like the same hero story, right? When you really break it down, and yeah, but especially it used to be more of a thing. I think what helps finding out that Jesse's favorite camera is outside already has a fantasy calendar. Sure. Yeah. I'll admit, I think some of that I avoid a little bit by just not really engaging with like especially when I was no, in all aspects of like I think one thing that I would probably avoid doing is like, okay, I'm gonna go read through like the top 100 one shots that are available on like the DMs Guild. Like that's what I'm gonna do as research. That would be a terrible thing for me to do. Terrible thing for me to do. Because what that's gonna put in my head is a bunch of bad things. It's gonna put in my head to compare myself to the other people. It's gonna put in my head like, ooh, do I need to do more like that because that seems to be popular? Uh, I just need to do the version of all the stuff that I believe in based on my experience, what I've had luck with, and what I think is funny or challenging or whatever, and trust that there's enough room out there to, you know, build it out that way. Um, Same goes for like content online. Like I mostly do, it's funny. I make some of it. Some I used to make a lot more videos out there on social media, but I wouldn't really watch very many from other D&D content creators, which maybe makes me a jerk. But I'm also like I was making stuff. I wasn't watching stuff. It does nothing and tries to take the credits. Yeah, create more than you consume. Hey Kyle, so woof. Ooh, should it fly? That's right. I forgot about that idea. Starting and being consistent is a tough one, Jose. I can only speak to the stuff that works for me. I really um if I'm wanting to be consistent with something, sometimes I actively don't measure it because measurement is a means of like looking for feedback, and typically feedback takes a really long time anyway. So I just go like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm just committing to doing this. This is just a thing I do now. Whatever it is, whatever amount, however often, like whatever the regularity is, this is just a thing I do and I'm just going to do it. The other thing I try to avoid is telling anybody. Because I think that validation for me and how my mind works, validation and the reward that comes with that can be like self-defeating, where I go like, oh, that felt good. And then it's like, wait, oh no. And now I feel like I know enough about myself to go like, that's bad that I felt good now for the thing that I did. I should just keep it a secret and keep on toiling away at it, because then it's like, well, eventually it's going to be it's going to make me feel even better when I've done this thing 100 times before I even talk to anybody about it. Um, I don't know if any of that's transferable, but those are the two things that always come to mind when I'm like wanting to introduce like a new habit, wanting to start something new and like do it consistently. That's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about. Should make a note. I'll just make a note, flesh that idea out in a video. Find a way to relate it to D&D.